Good afternoon and welcome to the daily wrap-up here with ForexAnalytix. And we've seen the dollar going and pare back a bit. I was on Face webinar this morning and we were talking about the euro and how the euro had come into an area where I talked about there being a lot of good volume. We'll go on and take a look at this quickly. I came back, at the end of the Face. I came in for the last 15 minutes as Steve wasn't able to come in. He had some internet issues. And we talked about this 928 because in the analysis that I'd done over the weekend, I said with last weekend's sustained break of 1075, the euro is targeted to move to 804. Initial support comes at 948 with firmer support at 928. And so what we came up with, and I reiterated at the end of the Face, was you can see all these touches here. We kind of went over this, how the market had settled in here. Then we saw a real nice bounce, only to come back and fight. And as we broke 928, then we made this move down to 105. Then we rallied back into the same area, right in the guts. It was basically the middle of this area almost, and a lot of fighting going on, a lot of volume there. And finally, we launch higher up to about 113, and then we fall right back on our face to 928, take it out a little bit and jump right back and come back and retest it, beyond on the break and below before we made another run up here, and that run took us to 116, come back, and eventually before it's all said and done, we're back to 928. So we talked about this, the importance. I mean, obviously there's another area here and another area here. So we talked about, hey, look, I think we may find, at least if nothing else, a little bit short covering. We said, hey, in the long run, we probably do get to 108. After that sustained break of 1075. But in the meantime, watch out, make it a little bit of short covering. We did get some short covering on weaker PMIs out of the U.S., or I should say ISM, the U.S. ISM manufacturing, and that gave us that boost. And we are a little bit somewhat oversold to start with, and so much has been played into, we've already had the bunds go to a new all-time lows again. You have to wonder how much further again can they keep going, because at least the ECB is only allowed to hold so much as far as sovereign debt at a certain rate. And there's some other things. I was going to make a notation or note of that on the Face webinar, but ran out of time. But so this isn't a bad area for at least some short covering, and probably over the next couple of days, maybe we'll try and push up a little bit higher. But in the meantime, I think we were able to go and see a little bit of short covering here in that area. Another thing that we also talked about was the cash dollar index. We had a level here at 99.44. Same thing if we were basic with ForexAnalytix. I do the basic technical over the weekend, come in the new week, and we put on here the dollar index has closed its best levels, resistance, allowing a challenge of 99.44. Well, we made it up to, what was it, 99.40? And you can see this 99.44, pretty key area right there. You can see all the different touches coming here, which is basically, if you used to trade the futures, you know how important volume is. So that 99.44, the market kind of ran out of gas right before then. And before then, we actually had a nice confluence. I showed that on the Face webinar. Look at that 99.40, which is just about where the market ran out of gas. Maybe came up short, maybe a couple of pips or so. Is 127% extension of this level. These are areas that you just saw the market drop on a Friday. You really don't trade there, because I remember this one right here, the market trading at 99.67, 99.72, 67, 72, and then all of a sudden, at the end of the day, you see this big drop, which really wasn't, like I said, same thing. The market's opens up on Sunday, basically right where it was trading. So when you look at this is the real McCoy here, which is that move, and we'll take a look at it. You can see that 127% extensions takes us there. So it was a decent area for them to go in and take a pause at. We had talked about another pair that we talked about on Face was the dollar CAD. And bear with me while I go and remove this. And we had mentioned here with the dollar CAD, the dollar CAD finally got up above that 33, 36 area here. And we said, it's open, the market's open to eventually come up to 34.15, which doesn't sound like a whole lot higher. But I mentioned here on the Face webinar, we've got a good area right here, 33.82. You see that? 33.82. And I was right there on Face, I said, hey, look, you're probably going to see a little bit of, profit taken, a little longs taken off here. And obviously, the ISM had a big thing to do with it too, but look, we really came back down and have now slipped back below 33.36, which is going to be pretty important if we're not able to close above that. Matter of fact, the key thing is that when we were actually making that move here, we still hadn't even closed the 2-hour bar yet. So we actually came down quite a bit off of that ISM. We made this run up in here, and once again, we made those highs, and we just simply ran out of gas and came back here. And it's going to look rather concerning for anybody that's been bullish or anybody that got long at the latter stages to see this and say, oh my goodness, what the heck, you know? If this is a little bit taller, it might even look like a shooting star, but at least it's probably going to look like, you know, certainly a pattern that could go in and work lower here. And that's what we're looking for when I mentioned about that. Watch out for that 33.82. Probably have a lot of people trapped there thinking, okay, we're going to 34.15, maybe 35, and I meant 34.15. You can see right in here. Not 34.50 because I wasn't looking for a whole lot, but I thought we'd be able to jump up and then we'd see what we could do beyond that. Well, heck, we're not even doing anything even beyond that. We're still stuck in the mud here with this 33.36. Moving on here, take a look at the peso. The peso has slid, and we had done the technical analysis ahead of the weekend saying 2013, we finished at 2005. We were looking for a resistance around 2013. I think we moved it up to 2014 this morning and supported 2003, but we were talking about the potential for this market to go on and pair back. And we can go on and take a look at that here. Actually, we had it on the intraday where I had the notation here. Yeah, it says dollar peso closed the week on minor support level 2005, although bullish. The pair is open to a pullback to 1985 with solid support at 1967. So we're looking for potentially now. Today's bias chart support was here at 2003. So, but we've actually pushed below that. Blake mentioned how the Euro mix has gone weaker, and we're talking about how it does look suspect. We had even pointed that out in the face webinar. I alluded to that, which I don't even trade the Euro peso, but I do keep an eye on it just to see what as a conviction type move, you know, here, let's say on the dollar peso. I mean, there are two different types of, I wouldn't say two different types of animals, but obviously two different pairs. But I look at it to see, hey, is it losing strength against this also? And that kind of helps, you know, give me an idea of, should I stay a little bit longer? Should I look for a little bit more? And then with the cable, we certainly have seen a nice turnaround here with the cable. Has more to do with British politics. We saw one of the Tories defect, so now Boris Johnson's majority is no longer a majority; it's now a minority. So that kind of gave a bit of a push here with cable here. And certainly the Aussie dollar made a run. Now we do have bias chart resistance here at 67.54. We're pushing a little bit higher than that. But nothing of any real substance to say, wow, we're way above it. But we are above it nonetheless. We'll keep it pretty tight here. Let's just go on and move into the cross rates. But coming into the evening session, let's see, we do have GDP out of Australia, and that's going to be at 8:30. And let's see, also fixed capital expenditures, cakes and services PMI out of China. That'll be at 8:45 Central Standard Time. And then as we roll into tomorrow, we do have European PMIs with Spanish PMI kicking off. Spanish PMIs, the Reuters post for 53. They've been holding up pretty well, 52.9. The real concern has been Germany, and so look at here with Germany. Now that's on the manufacturing has been concerned. The services is still holding above the 50, but the manufacturing has been the real big concern. Obviously, we do also have Italian PMI and French, and also the Eurozone final PMI tomorrow. And then this webinar starts at 3 a.m. Central Standard Time, 4 a.m. Eastern. So I always say at the bottom of the hour, we have UK data. So we have UK services PMI at the bottom of the hour of the webinar, European crossover webinar. And once again, if you're, a lot of y'all might say, well, hey, what the heck? I'm not up at that time. That's true, but Stelios records the webinar and makes it available in the chat room about an hour and a half before the U.S. Open. And you can also, from there, you don't have to watch it at that point. You could come in maybe 30 minutes before the U.S. Open and watch that that recording there. As we set the bias chart levels for the day, you can see here with the euro dollar, we had 928 before we even got there. So we had 928. I picked it up this morning at 929. But like I said, so we set up the bias chart for not only the majors, but then the cross rates. Although we do take a look at gold, and we also take a look at where the boons are at, and keep an eye right on the S&Ps. I don't put them on the chart because once again, SPOOs can move so fast. Is that what we're looking for? We can quickly get to it and then go beyond it and then come back to it again. So I don't go and sit that in there, but we do take a closer look at bonds and a little bit here at gold. But we'll go on and quickly move into the cross rates. And we've seen this continued weakness. Like look here, and let me move this up here. You can see how the euro's even lost a lot of strength here against the Aussie. And we talked about this on the Face webinar, is that, man, the euro had made some kind of run against the Aussie like nobody's business. We're looking over here on the daily. Hang on. I'm going to put this thing here. But you can see we've opened the door to go lower. And that's what we said here on the euro dollar. Euro Aussie has broken the major weekly level at 63.41, a line for a challenge of 61.76. Initial support is 62.39. So you see the 61.76, there's a 62.39. We actually kind of held it at first. We were above it, but we were kind of trying to push beyond that. So potentially we can get to 61.76. We talked about the significance of this 63.41. And if you look at it from a longer term perspective, how this market had fought from 136 to come all the way up in here, and we were bumping our heads here, and we finally got above it, and then we faded it. And then we challenged it again. And so when we finally got a solid close, it looks like it's up and away. And I mentioned there was one notable Aussie trader that had been targeting, I think he was looking for 174. I remember at the time when we made this run up here, I said, oh, well, there's some good weekly resistance up here. As well, I'm looking for 174. I have a longer time frame. Okay, well, he had a longer time frame. But anyway, you can see how we came back down and re-challenged back here the breakout, which was then support, 63.41. We made one more last gasp at it, and quickly fallen back. And now with the Aussie improving a little bit, certainly we can make that run down here to 61.76. Guppy has come up a little bit here. Obviously, we were under some pretty good pressure this morning, and we actually had our bias chart support at the old level that we had looked at before, which was 26.54, and we came pretty close to that. You see here, I think we only made 26.67, but we came pretty close to that, and then we since have pushed higher. We had our bias chart resistance today at 27.88, but things have turned around. We're about 28 pips above that right now, but things have turned around obviously with the Tory defecting, so to speak, and Boris Johnson's majority is no longer majority and is now a minority. But you can see here in the Aussie yen, still as quiet can be. And I think, I apologize, I think I didn't even have it on that screen. Let me go on and click on here. Bear with me. Sorry about that. So as I mentioned here, let me go back then if we didn't see that or y'all didn't see that. It was on the Euro Aussie, and I'll go back to that. We're looking at the daily, and you can see here how important this 63.41 was and how this market had really fought from 136 to come all the way up in here, and how we've been bumping our heads up against the 63.41. And then we finally got above it. We got above it, fell back, got above it, fell back. When we finally got a solid close, it looked like we were up and away, and we came back to challenge it. Here we are sliding. As I mentioned, the analysis, breaking that major weekly level allows for a challenge of 61.76. You can see the 61.76 there with initial support at 62.39. We're actually holding above that this morning, but kind of pressing beyond that now. And I mentioned about the Guppy. Like I said, it looks like I wasn't on that page. We're on the other page, so I do apologize. But we had also mentioned about the, as I mentioned about the Euro Aussie, we're faring a bit better, but we're still weaker against the Kiwi here, the Euro Kiwi, but it's definitely still in a bull market. This is a 2-hour chart. But we can see a slide. You can see here, pitch a trend right there. You can see this market break down and potentially come down to 72. Overall, we do see the Kiwi start to go and pick up. Aussie yen still here, sitting here, a bunch of nothing right now. Getting back to the main screen, a moment. As I mentioned, some good resistance at 99.40 here on the cash dollar index. We're kind of easing back a bit, and the euro found some very good, nice support at that 0.928 that we talked about. Other than that, everything's relatively quiet. Dollar CAD did come back for that 33.83 that we talked about, 33.82. We pulled off quite a bit, near to token of about 50 pips, just below that key 33.36, which is going to be pretty key for this market if we are not able to close above that on the 2 hour. It certainly doesn't look like we're going to go in and do that. But that's all we have today. Thanks for joining us here on the daily wrap up, and we will catch y'all tomorrow.